Good morning, and welcome to the celebration of Claire's life. A celebration is a truly special event, and it's a great privilege and honor for us all to be here at a truly intimate time in the family's journey. This is a time that has taken you all on an incredibly emotional journey, and you come now together to be part of that journey with the girls and to bring something to this occasion. My name is Cameron Hogg. I'm a spiritual teacher. I'm also the spiritual counselor for hospice, and so my work is about preparing souls to let go of the earth life and to support families in allowing that transition to happen and to receive indeed the gift of death. I think the challenge we all have is often how we see death and what we believe death to be, and our consciousness that it is a negative event, it is something traumatic, it is something we all try our damnedest to avoid. But it's something we're all going to do. And more important than that, imagine the concept that we couldn't die and that we were stuck here forever in these bodies. So, Claire has died, and in that dying, she has given us all a gift. And we come together to support her now in the next stage of her transition. One of the great joys of my work is that I meet the most incredible people, really courageous souls. And these three young women are all powerful, created, and courageous women that have accepted this gift of death and allowed it to transform. So, to start, can I ask please that you check your cell phones are off, that we create a space here now that is still and sacred, and that we come now to honor Claire's life. Claire is for all of you a friend. She was a daughter, a sister, an aunt, a wife, and most importantly, a mother. So, my first question is, why are you all here? What is it you bring? Why have you come? Do you come because it's your duty? You come just to pay respects? What does that mean? The function of a celebration of life is creating for the soul a memory of what her life was about, to allow the soul to interpret your thoughts, to read and to hear your thoughts. And so the first question is, what is it you bring? What is your light and what is your energy? What do you bring today to support the three girls and indeed to support Claire? And as we listen to this first piece of music, I ask you to reflect on your life and your light and that you bring.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found, was blind, but now I see. 'Twas grace that taught first believed. And when we've been there 10,000 years, bright shining as the sun, we've no less days to sing God's grace than when we'd first begun. We've no less days to sing God's grace than when we'd first begun.
We light candles to acknowledge our own light, our energy as human beings, and we bring consciousness to why we are here by the lighting of candles. And so I ask Louise, Robin and Sarah to come forward and to light a candle that represents their life, and then together to light the candle that represents Claire's life as well. Life is a series of cycles, each an end and a new beginning, and each one is a celebration. And Claire's life was a gift, was different to each one of us, but during her time on earth, she too gave energy, she made her life present, and she made a contribution to the earth. End of life is different for each one of us, and different for each belief system. For some people, the end is the end. For others, there is a life after death. Everyone has their own understanding, their own belief, and their own consciousness of what death means. Whatever it is always valuable, and death enriches life. The celebration is about focusing on the life lived, and not how we release ourselves from our body, not how we go. Honor Claire's life, honor the incredible will force that she had, the strength of character, the deep love she had for her children, her family. She was an amazingly creative person who could find a solution and a way forward in any challenge. And together with her children, she did manage a challenging journey through most of her life. A celebration of life allows the soul now to listen to your thoughts, because each one of you have a specific, a unique, a special thought about Claire. And this occasion is the last time that so many people will come together with a single thought of focusing on her. And the soul uses that to reflect on what her life was about, how she touched each one of you, what she meant to you, the fun you had, even the differences you may have experienced. And so now, as you think about Claire and what she meant for you as an individual, allow your thoughts to really feed her soul. During this next piece of music, fill that space now with what Claire meant for you personally.
All things
gifts of death is the opportunity for legacy, and our legacy lives on in our children. And the first to speak to you today is Robin.
I'm not the oldest, but I am speaking first today. I'm going to say a few words, and then I'm also going to read something that Rowan and Olivia, Rowan's mom's brother in the UK, wrote for her. The first thing I want to say is, Mom gave love. I think that was a big part of her journey. And after talking with her, and I know she still felt like at one point she had more to give and more to do, and I made the realization that maybe having us three was her journey and her purpose, and all three of us going forward and accomplishing the things that we have and that we still have to accomplish is continuing Mom's journey. Her journey was to create something that not only could she love so much more than herself, but something that could in turn create so much love. And I think the fact that you're all here today is testament to how much love Mom did create and how much love will continue in the world because of her. By being deeply true to ourselves is something that Mom has always taught us. She put us first, even before herself. And by following that strength and truth, we can still create that perfect, unconditional love, even in less than perfect circumstances. She was wise and fair and beautiful and courageous and strong and inspirational and the closest thing to my heart. And I will always love her. Life does keep surprising us, and through this journey, as tough as things are, things always happen the way they're meant to, and we need to embrace it all. And I think Mom would agree, and she really did show us the way that she fought this battle and in the end came to accept it, that we have to embrace life and we have to embrace every part of it, the easy, the fun, the difficult. And that's where we find our strength, especially in the difficult times. So that's all I want to say. And hopefully that you guys will keep that inspiration, because I don't think Mom ever put herself first. And I think it's time now that we all do, and we keep that thought in our minds. And then I'm going to read something from Aunt Olivia Nakuro. This is what she said to Mum. When we close our eyes, we see your smiling face. We tend your flowers, your hand on ours you'll place. When we're feeling sad, your arms outstretched will feel. A moment of these memories will take a chance to steal. We hated that you had to suffer. Your courage was so bold. You never once complained. Your heart was never cold. You had to leave us early. We hated the goodbyes. But we promised to be brave and try hard not to cry. We know that God will care for you and take you by the hand. And we will hold your heart in ours and liken it to sand. Golden glittering, full of warmth that spreads wherever we look. And we someday will find you, we'll just know where to look. We promise to remember you, your laugh, your eyes, your charm. And now that you have gone from us, God will keep you safe from harm. Your soul will live on in us each and every day. But now it's time to say farewell and send you on your way.
Rabindranath Tagore, the Indian poet, said, "Death is not an extinguishing of the light. It is simply putting out the light because the dawn has come." The wind blows and we can feel it. We hear the sound of it. But we do not know where it comes from. And neither do we know where it's going. And so too is it with everyone born of spirit. We are a multidimensional being. We are a body, we are a soul, and we are a spirit. And death is a glorious time of spiritual consciousness, of freeing ourselves from the restriction of the body and allowing ourselves to actually go home, to go back to where we came from. In the Christian faith, the sign of the cross has been embraced. And the cross is a symbol of life, the vertical and the horizontal, of a life lived. It's not important how long we live. What is important is how intensely we live. How do we live every moment that we have on life? That is how our legacy is built. And that is how our legacy continues. And Louise will now speak and reflect on Claire's legacy.
I know, I need to move. On behalf of Robin, myself, and Sarah, I'd like to thank everyone for being here today. Mom didn't want a traditional send-off. The morbid affair of a funeral just wasn't how she wanted to be remembered. And so we planned this day with her, so it could be a celebration of her life. Don't be sad because she's no longer with us in this world, but rather envy the fact that she's made her way onto another journey. Thank you to all of our friends and family for all of the love and support during this time. A special mention goes out to Uncle Rags and Auntie Liv in the UK, who couldn't be with us, but have generously contributed towards today, especially through the flowers and everything else here. Another big thank you goes to a lot of the lovely sisters that have made their way here from Foy's life. They were there for Mom towards the end and did become her family as well, and in turn became our family. So we really appreciate you guys being here. Another big thank you goes out to my monster family. I think everyone's on the side. Not only for helping with today, but also for the love and support that we've received. Lloyd unfortunately isn't here, that's my boss, and I think the biggest thank you goes to him. Without him, I wouldn't have been able to have these 8 months with Mom and not be able to worry about work. So that understanding and that love and blessing has really humbled me. I really, really appreciate it. How do you sum someone's life up within a few minutes? Quite simply, you don't. We all believe that our parents are the 1 in a million kind of people, and that's because they are. And Mom really was 1 in a million. She was such an incredibly positive and happy person, and it's something that's rubbed off on everyone around us. Many of you knew Mom well, but didn't quite know her life story. So here it is. Mom grew up in the UK and went to St. George's School in Ascot, a private girls' boarding school. She was a prefect, represented school at rounders, which none of you will know what it is, netball, tennis and lacrosse, another one, and was selected for a reserve for the South of England lacrosse team. Mom was always popular, and perhaps her dapper older brother had something to do with it. Rags used to fetch Mom from school, rolling in his little green Triumph, sporting a black leather jacket, and no doubt the girls went mad. All too cool for the 1960s. At some points in time, Mom lived in the same suburb as Cliff Richard, John Lennon, and Ringo Starr. And while living in London, she watched 2 of the greatest bands to ever exist, the Beatles and the Rolling Stones. Of course, her love of music. Of course, she kept her love of music, and even Jack Parrow's stage performance got her jawling. After boarding school, Mom moved on to Mademoiselle Anita's finishing school in Paris, and from there to Mrs. Hoster's secretarial school in London. She found her first job as an assistant in the principal's office of King's College, which is part of the University of London. And then she travelled the likes of Spain, France. She went skiing in Switzerland, vacated in Ibiza, Mallorca, Menorca, the Greek Isles, Tunisia and Scotland, and I'm sure we've forgotten a few. She moved on to a company called H.M. Wilkes, which was a land surveying company, and was a secretary to the MD. And that's when her life changed. She decided to move out to South Africa in 1975, so she bought a plane ticket and thought she'd be on her way. But her folks decided not to send her on the plane and send her on the ship instead. So epically, she docked in Cape Town later that year, which is where she stayed. She stayed all over Cape Town, from Rondebosch, Mooley Point, University Estate, Mowbray, and Vredehok. She worked for a shipping company and again was a secretary to the marketing manager. Her first car was a snazzy little grey Beetle, which was very trendy for the time. Mom then furthered her adventure and came up to Joburg in 1982. She worked for SAB head office Braamfontein, as many of our mothers did, and was private secretary to their group secretary. She stayed in Hillbrow and once again whiskered around town in a little white Beetle. And then came her next journey. Angelica, a long time friend of Mom's, convinced her to go on a blind date. She and her husband Richard set Mom up with who would eventually become my father. Now the story goes, as I believe Dad was quite the Casanova in his day, that if he really liked you, you'd crack a dinner invite after going for drinks. So Mom and Julie went for drinks and never heard from him. So clearly not much has changed from the men of today. She decided she wasn't going to wait around for the soak and went back to the UK for a holiday, and eventually decided she was actually going to move back there permanently. And so she moved back to Joburg, and funny enough got that phone call. Dad phoned and asked her out for dinner, which was 6 months since she'd met, and it was on that date that she knew that that was the man she was going to marry. They were engaged a few months later, for 4 months in total, and then married in February. Now this is where I get my talents for event management from, because anyone who can organize not only one, but 2 weddings in 4 months across 2 continents and 2 countries must certainly be a genius. Today, 32 years ago, they got married in England. And shortly after that, their firstborn, me, came into the world. Mom stopped working when I was born, and then followed her incredible path at raising us 3 girls. She faced an unimaginable number of challenges raising us, but somehow always managed to make sure that we were happy. We didn't want for anything growing up, and the trouble she harbored from us, we could never thank her enough for. She was an entrepreneur, had the greenest fingers around, was an avid reader, and most recently an avid tweeter. She managed to master the art of email, Facebook, and Twitter in a few weeks, but somehow couldn't grasp and marveled at the fact when we taught her how to control C. She was the cool mom. She was quite embarrassing at times, especially when she'd do things like sing along to Ludacris in the car with all your boyfriends at the age of 15. 8 months ago, she faced the biggest challenge yet. I've never seen anyone so determined to beat anything, and boy did we all try. She was positive and hopeful right until the end, and it's a quality that we can only help to carry forward. It sounds a lot like a cliche, because I suppose it is, but when a tragedy like this happens, the delicacy of life becomes very real. You never know when it'll end, but it is certain that it will, and it's something that we all take for granted. This is the huge lesson that I've taken from this, and I don't think anyone can fully comprehend it until you've actually gone through it yourself. My life and our lives were turned upside down and changed forever. Mom fought for her life every day, and she treasured every moment she had left. But most of all, she was brave. People keep saying to myself, Robin and Sarah, I can't believe how strong you guys are and how brave you are in facing this. But guys, what we've gone through and are going through is absolutely nothing in comparison to what the battle that she fought and what she faced. Strong is the only option we have. And from this, I've not only learned bravery, but kindness too. Mom was the kindest soul I've ever met, and made a difference in everyone's lives, and I think everyone here can believe that. Mom also learned a lot from this journey of hers that eventually ended in her life. She learned how to become vulnerable and move out of her comfort zone when she had no other option to. It tested her dignity and her pride, and that's something we can all take as well. Most of all, I've truly learned to avoid regret. We were lucky enough to tell Mom how we felt about her and asked her all the things that we ever wanted to. So take a lesson from this and don't wait until it's too late. One very, very rarely gets the opportunity to do so. Over the past few weeks, I've embraced death. I know it's not the end. It's quite simply that the battery of our physical bodies is run dry. Our souls move on to a more exciting journey. And I know that this has to be true, otherwise these great people would still be in our lives. We have lost a mother, but we have gained the appreciation of life and take all of Mom's qualities into us to move forward and fulfill our own journeys. So my friends and family, don't be sad because she's gone. Rather celebrate what she was and remember all of those precious moments that we spent together. She will never be replaced. To end, Robin, Sarah and myself were sitting in Foy's Life, where we spent most of our time last year. And the girls, to my dismay, belted out the current hit that was in their head at the time. Me being the responsible one thought we were going to get kicked out of hospital. But it duly became the anthem, and I think it's very fitting that we all take a moment to listen to the song that came very dear to Mom. Thanks, guys.
Trying to run for cover, you're trying to find a place that you can breathe. You're rolling under covers, you're trying to find some sense beneath these sheets. Where have you gone? Where have you gone? Yeah, I do it for hope, I do it for bravery, I do it to cope, to bring out the best in me, I do it to change, I do it to rage, I do it to shape, strengthen me this way, and yeah, you're trying to run for cover, yeah, I see you trying to steer clear of his reach. But I could be your cover, see I could. And I could be the sense beneath your sheets. And where have you gone? But where have you gone? Yeah, I do it for hope, I do it for bravery, I do it to cope, to bring out the best in me, I do it to change, I do it to rage, I do it to shape, to strengthen me this way. And yeah, 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 bring out the best in me. I do it to change, I do it to rage, I do it to shape, to strengthen me this way. I do it for hope, I do it for bravery, I do it to cope, to bring out the best in me. I do it to change, I do it to rage, I do it to shape, to strengthen me this way. And yeah, 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 strengthen me this way.
I would like to begin by reading a short piece by Henry Scott Holland, as I think it sums up how Mom would have tackled this if she was here with us. Death is nothing at all, it does not count. I've only slipped away into the next room, nothing has happened. Everything remains exactly as it was. I am I, and you are you. And the old life we lived so fondly together is untouched, unchanged. Whatever we were to each other, that we still are. Call me by my old familiar name. Speak of me in the easy way which you always used. Put no difference into your tone. Wear no forced air of solemnity or sorrow. I tried to ask for the pronunciation earlier. Laugh as we always laughed at the little jokes that we enjoyed together. Play, smile, think of me. pray for me. Let my name be ever the household word that it always was. Let it be spoken without an effort, without the ghost of a shadow upon it. Life means all that it ever meant. It is the same as it ever was. There's absolute and unbroken continuity. What is death but a negligible accident? Why should I be out of mind because I am out of sight? I am waiting for you, for an interval, somewhere very near, just round the corner. All is well. We've put together a short slideshow showing a bit about Mom's life and images which we think capture why our Mom is our superwoman. We hope you enjoy.
So it is incredible. You don't have to build a monument or a museum or a library or a hospital in order to have made a difference in the world. It's a difficult concept, but we are all dying. Each and every one of us sitting here, including all the babies, are all in the process of dying. It is a natural life process. There is never a right time and there's never a wrong time, but it is something that must happen. And we accept the gift of death by allowing ourselves to open our hearts. And to do that, we have to not judge the event. At a time like this, one of the gifts we have all been given today is the opportunity to ask ourselves whether we are actually living our lives. Are we living our truth? Are we really happy? Do we live our happiness? Or do we make sure we fit in, we please, we do what everyone else wants, we're competing, and more than anything, we make sure we're surviving before we allow ourselves just to be happy. Research was done not so long ago at hospice, the top 5 regrets of the dying. The first one is, I wish I'd had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life others wanted me to live. The second, I wish I had not worked so hard. The third, I wish I had had the courage just to express my feelings. The fourth, I wish I had made more effort to stay in touch with my friends. And the fifth, I wish that I had let myself be happy. Claire used the time of her illness to reinforce love in this family, love between you all, to remind you all of the power of family and the power of love. Let the gift of her death to you be an awakening for us all of what it truly means to be family and what it truly means to love as a family. Death is indeed a challenge and there is a lot of pain, but it's not about sadness and it's not about sympathy. And I urge you all, because we are so conditioned to offer these 3 powerful women your sympathy, ask yourself, what must they do with it? Honor them for the journey they have walked. Honor them for the women they are allowing themselves to become. As Louise said, they have no choice but to be strong. Don't give them your sympathy. It is a burden for them. Death is like breaking an egg. You can smell an egg till you're blue in the face. You will not get the nutrition out of it. Something has to break. Honor this family, honor these 3 girls, honor the legacy that Claire leaves through her daughters. We've all been touched one way or another in knowing Claire. And death is what makes that gift firm in our consciousness. So be grateful for her death. Be grateful for the consciousness you have because of it. And offer unconditional love to the unique memories each one of you have of Claire. Give your love and honor to these 3 amazing women. And I ask you all now to stand and join me in reciting the Lord's Prayer, please. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. Please remain standing and listen to this psalm. Thank you. There are drinks, tea and coffee. Please join the girls.